Going to move on to Telecare, and this is a relatively new service. It's actually still in development. It's going to go live with Sefton Council in a couple of weeks. And it's obviously closely related to community loan equipment. In fact, they're having a community loan equipment service and a Telecare service built at the moment. But what's interesting about the Telecare service is, again, the drivers, and they're very similar to those in community loan equipment, but they anticipate that the service will increase 30% year on year for the next 3 years. They estimate that 20% of their equipment is not being used currently, or it's lost, or it's in need of repair. Currently, their process is that they install some Telecare equipment in a person's home, and then a member of the team picks up the phone and has a conversation asking whether the installation went well, that they feel confident in using the equipment, so on and so forth. So we're now able to automatically generate that call. The call goes into the person asking exactly the same questions that the team does right now. And where someone has an issue, that's flagged, and that's where the member of the team phones back and has a further conversation about the Telecare equipment that's been installed. So some of the example questions in this particular script are, following the installation, do you feel confident using the equipment that we've provided? During the installation, we've shown how to use the equipment. Are you happy with the overall service you've received to date from Sefton Careline? And would you like any further information or to talk to a member of the Careline team? So it's a very simple set of questions. On that final question, if someone does want to talk to someone there and then, they are automatically connected, as long as it's within working hours, into the Careline team. And again, they can collect information on sort of overall satisfaction of the service. The second question, I think, is the key one for them. You know, during the installation, we've shown how to use the equipment, and that's sort of a key indicator for their contract management with the guys who install the equipment, and being able to get feedback on that. One of the other key things about their service is there's a call that goes out to people just at the point at the end of their reablement. I think it's the reablement time when Sefton Careline give this Telecare equipment for free. There's a point at which certain cohort of people start to pay for it. So at that point, there's a call that goes out explaining the cost implications of keeping the equipment post-reablement, talking about the cost of that equipment. They're actually able to say how much it will cost per week. And then the person has the decision to say, actually, I do want to continue with it, and I'd like to talk to someone about, you know, setting up a direct debit, or, you know, how I'll pay for that, or I'd like to return it, and then they can talk about the return of that equipment. So critically, it's about driving the timely return of the Telecare equipment, identifying those people who maybe have lost the equipment, or it's not being used, or it may be broken. And I think the key KPIs, that's quite hard to say, for them that they will be assessing the service against are there on the right-hand side. So I'm not going to read them all out. You can see them there. Sort of increasing that signposting to information and advice, and I think that's relevant across the board. Trying to reduce the hospital and GP attendance, getting a more informed view of individuals, but critically improving that turnover and decreasing the budget for Telecare services. As I say, this is a relatively new one, going live, I think it's the second week of July. And I'll mention it later on, but we're going to have a sort of mega day. That's what we're calling it. It's probably not a great name, but sometime in late September, early October, we're going to run a whole day about Contact and Connect. And rather than doing 7 snippets like this, we're going to have 7 or colleagues from local authorities who are driving these different services talk about the services across the whole day. Obviously, you don't have to come for the whole day, but there'll be sort of more information, deeper information, and colleagues from the local authorities talking about them. So this will be a key one, because we'll have about 3 months worth of data by then. So it'll be interesting to see the responses